Good morning, guys. Monday, November 18th, 2019. I know there's not too many people on here this morning, but there's quite a bit of stuff for me to get through, so I'll go through for the ones that are here and for anybody watching this back later. Quite a few things over the weekend caught my eye, so I'm just going to go through my show notes here. Dow closed above 28,000. It was his first 1,000-point milestone clearance in 90 trading days, last achieved on July 11th. President Trump hails market levels as big win and proof of winning for USA towards China trade deal, even though just about maybe an hour ago some news from Beijing came out saying quite different, that they were quite hesitant on the trade deal. But as I've pointed out many times, I think it's a better bargaining chip for China to play that side, that we're worried, we don't know what's going on. And it's a better for Trump and for the market here to constantly be saying, we're winning, things are going great. So even though the problem is that it messes with the algos and it can make wild swings like what we just saw this morning, it's very, very hard to really know what's going on, so take this with a grain of salt. However, these are great trading opportunities if you can catch those as they're coming out. But again, you're following algos, so it's not like you can really get ahead of the move too much. Especially at these levels, there's not really levels to trade off of at this point. It's a lot of retracement levels and psychological numbers. U.S. markets at record highs, while farm bankruptcies are at highest levels since 2011. Farm income continues to fall, even with agricultural bailouts amid trade war tariffs and horrible weather, both in the spring and fall. And I live somewhere that is very dependent on farming and ranching, and so we own a farm in Iowa where I believe it's like 84% of the land is farmland. So what they had is they had too much rain this spring, and then now here into the fall we're having too much freeze and snow already. So it's going to be, and the effects we have not seen them yet. We'll see the effects slowly, but these effects in the commodities is a very, very important part of the market, and we will see the tail end of those effects. So the bailouts only have slowed income loss, but did not reverse. Massive amounts of farmland was not planted this year, and we will just now begin to see those repercussions. Market bear calls are the new it of clickbait, or is it a reality? Morgan Stanley now sees U.S. underperforming in 2020 across all markets. Yet, literally about 30 minutes to an hour later, I saw the next article from Morgan Stanley saying global growth should recover in 2020 as trade tensions and monetary policy ease. So again, this is just another one of the scenarios that's making it extremely hard to trade off of this stuff, and it's just smashing the algos back and forth. I mean, this morning we hit 31.27, and then within 30 minutes later, we were down at 31.13, and it just started to buy back up slowly. We're at 31.16 right now, purely off of that Beijing news. So this is what I'm talking about. The NASDAQ is now in what is called the Hindenburg omen and the Ohama Titanic syndrome. These point to pullbacks, but in my opinion, an analyst that had written these reports, this will only be bought up to newer highs. 2020 most likely to continue up, but thinking by 2021 summer, we see massive issues that we are just now skipping over. Obviously, we've talked about this in our Discord. I'm sure Trump is using this as a bargaining chip for re-election, so he'll be trying to plan something as we get closer to election date. However, the Chinese are definitely well aware of this, and they're going to make it increasingly harder, I guarantee. So wild swings are only the beginning of what we're going to see. There's going to be much, much more of this and much worse, especially at these high levels. Oil has flatlined, awaiting trade also, and not just oil as in CL prices. Oil companies, oil investments, commodities, everything around it has just pretty much flatlined over the last few weeks. And I'm not too surprised there. Asia markets last night, well, Monday for them, last night for us, were mostly green. Awaiting trade developments, they did slightly turn as the day came to a close. In individual names, Apple, Trump lobbyist visits. This is definitely going to affect the bearish trade idea I was setting up and talking about last week. Tesla is definitely one I'm going to be watching right away and for the next several weeks. As always, I always watch Tesla, but this one is very, very got me very eyeing it now. There was more scandal with the Solar City fiasco bailout and class action lawsuit that was 3 years ago this month, because the court filings were just unsealed recently, and so now they are all being able to be reviewed and looking at them, and there's a lot of stuff in there that is not good for Tesla. However, on a good note for them, their EV truck is now in talks about being released. And also, they were just put out news about the Berlin factory going up, and their investment was going to be $4.4 billion. So I'm kind of torn on what I see with Tesla. So I may be actually setting up for a straddle. I will go over that this morning as I see fit, and if I run into it. The 5 big events for this week. Central banks in focus. On Wednesday, the Fed will publish minutes from the October meeting. Also, New York president, Cleveland president, and Minneapolis president all speak this week. Thursday, the EU Bank published minutes from last meeting, and that was the last meeting under Mario Draghi. So this will be now the newly minted ECB president, Christine Lagarde, gives speech on Friday. So that will be very interesting to see her take and how that all will change and what that will do to the markets. 2, trade developments after roller coaster week last week, and I think we're going to see the exact same thing obviously this week. We've already seen it from last night to this morning and just within this morning, so more of that to come, more chop in this market, I guarantee it, until we can find direction either way. Number 3, economic data. PMIs are out on Friday from Japan, EU, and US. Forward-looking statements hoping for stabilization and raising expectations that central bank has helped ease global economy from bottoming out. Thus, the U.S. is due to release home sales data and numbers on initial and continuing jobless claims on Thursday. Also, number 4, retail earnings this week I will be watching will be Home Depot, ticker symbol HD, Kohl's, ticker symbol KSS, Urban Outfitters, ticker URBN, Target, TGT, Macy's, ticker symbol M, GPS, which is Gap, and that will be as quarter 3 earnings start to wind up. Earnings reported from 458 S&P names so far are down year over year about 0.4%. So that's pretty flat, pretty much. Number 5 is what I was bringing up several days last week and will take effect this week, is ticker symbol BABA. Alibaba is to price stock before Hong Kong listing. Also, the Saudi Aramco deal back in the news this weekend. There was whispers about a possible largest IPO at 1.6 to 1.7 trillion, which is actually less than they initially had been talking about. But the good reason is they're doing that is because they want it to be more lucrative and more appealing to buy up. So as of now, Alibaba actually holds the record at 25 billion in the New York Stock Exchange IPO. But they are to list on Tuesday after U.S. markets close, and they're expected to raise $13.4 billion. So again, ticker symbol BABA, Alibaba will be definitely something I will be watching. Google, new checking account service could help banks in their battle for consumer deposits. Tech giant said last week it's exploring partnership with banks to offer checking accounts through its Google Pay app. HP rejects the Xerox offer as too low while staying, quote, open to deal. Ford in the news as they unveiled their new EV, the Mustang SUV, which I will go into great detail later today or tomorrow on a video. I don't like the name, but I do like the car, and I like the push a little bit against Tesla. It's good to have competition. FedEx has a little bit of good news with Walgreens. FedEx will be using Walgreens as pickup locations this holiday season. But then yesterday, FedEx versus the New York Times, there was a tax article published yesterday on the front page of the New York Times, essentially calling FedEx out. And then there was a statement from the CEO of FedEx calling out the New York Times for not paying at all last year and barely paying in the year before that. This will be a development I'll be watching. Hong Kong, just more craziness over there. The police have been urging the campus protesters to drop weapons. There was a guy, I watched a video last night that was caught on fire. There were several more kids taken to, and I call them kids because they're early in their early 20s, was taken to the hospital. It's just kind of all over the place. Crypto rally starting to cool. Bitcoin was around 85. What is it now? I didn't look this morning. I think we're about the same. I think kind of flatlined last night. Bitcoin sitting at 8,477, down from 10,000 from October 27th. So we're just seeing a just pretty overwhelming downtrend as of now in Bitcoin. So that is the morning news. Trade ideas. Essentially, we posted there in the watch list and Discord, and Darth went over a few more this morning. Things I'll be really heavily watching will be Amazon, Apple, Tesla, FedEx, NVIDIA, MU, BABA, and I will probably be looking at some VIX and SPX, SPY, market indices, QQQ. So that's where I'm going to go. I'm going to grab a drink of coffee, and I will try to see what the chop is going to do this morning and then get into some trade ideas as we open up here in about 2 minutes. Okay, guys, give me just a minute here. Okay, guys, we have just about less than a minute here, not even about 30 seconds till market opens. Stay vigilant. Be careful. There's definitely going to be a choppy week. I'm not sure what's going to happen out of the gate. Price action will dictate, but definitely something we're going to have to watch our eyes on is these algo headlines coming out, jumping us back and forth, up and down. So just please be careful out of the gate here, guys. And there's the bell here. Bonds having a big upsell here, as long as gold is already up quite a bit. $1.70 is all it's showing on the futures, but that's quite a bit as from where it was sitting before. Low of 1456 up to 1470 now, so that's quite a big climb actually. Definitely going to have to try to get our bearings here, guys, out of the gate. This is going to be a tricky morning here. You guys, I'm definitely going to have an eye on financials. That's where we're going to see if we're going to get any sell-side action, those financials are going to have to give. So definitely keep an eye on XLF and any of the big names, but XLF is a very good gauge to watch the overall financials, but that's where we're going to see it. Add decline line starting off at a negative 562. Slightly ticking down, but I expect that to change. Elevated VIX here up to about a 12.9 from 12.32. And again, XLF is going to be the trigger for sell side action, guys. I'm watching those financials this morning. Those bonds just continue to push up there, you guys. If you see /ZN here, these bonds, these are just absolutely rising, just stellar. And what that's going to do is that's going to put a lot of pressure on the financials on XLF, and that will eventually snap the financials. And if that happens, that's exactly what I was talking about. If it snaps the financials, that's when we see a real sell-off here. So the fact that these bonds are doing what they're doing is significant. This is definitely something you want to always be keeping an eye on no matter what. So I just want to point that out to you guys, because that's what I keep talking about over and over. So far, we're just watching this sideways chopping action like we're talking about, you guys. One thing I am getting interested in is I am watching Walmart for a possible intraday short position. As I get closer to taking this, I will bring it up and show you guys why and what I'm looking at. And so it's something that you would be able to follow me into, but do not jump the gun. Do not front run this trade, as I have not even got into the position whatsoever yet. But that's all I'm looking at yet. I have not taken a position in anything yet. Guys, I'm just slowly stepping into a small Walmart position here, looking at something like the 79 Delta, which is the 122 put. Might be spread that out across the 120 put. Definitely not something I would just jump into if you aren't your risk reward. I like what I'm seeing on that giant volume spike there, but again, be very, very careful if you take something like this today. This is definitely exactly the kind of choppy day we were not hoping for.